Overlord changes the game for Photoshop to After Effects import, Unreal Engine gets some big gains, and Apple does things the hard way. It's Motion Mondays, and I'm not sure where EJ and Joey went off to, but I hope they're having fun.
This was a terrible idea! You said you liked running!
As a designer, you can never really have enough resources, and we found one that's genuinely cool. Ex-user RPG shared this link to Texture Fabric. That's fabric with a K. The site looks like it hasn't been updated in a while, but it's packed with hundreds of high-quality textures. What I love is that these aren't your typical paper or grungy cement textures. They're interesting patterns, perfect for masking inside shapes and creating abstract backgrounds. Everything is sorted by category, and you can browse the gallery if you're feeling adventurous. It's literally one click to download, plus they've got vectors too. Do you have any go-to resources that you think we should know about? Let us know in the comments. While some big brands are experimenting with AI to questionable success, Apple just took the complete opposite approach in designing their new Sonic logo, or mnemonic, for Apple TV. If you're not familiar, a Sonic logo is a visual identity paired with a sound that audiences then associate with a brand. For example, Netflix's Ta-Dum. Companies often put a lot of thought and resources into creating their Sonic logo because of how important it can be in creating a feeling about the brand and their products. And Apple, being Apple, did what Apple does, which is taking branding exercises to the next level. Instead of rendering everything digitally, for this, they went full practical effects with real glass, real lighting, and actual camera work, which they showed off in an impressive behind-the-scenes video. Everything was done practically and then assembled digitally in post. The result is a really beautiful animated logo with sound by Phineas. Like everything else Apple does, it's simple and beautiful and gets the job done. That said, plenty of people on social media pointed out that you could have just done this in a 3D program like Cinema 4D, way faster and with more flexibility. And honestly, they're not wrong. The final result, while beautiful, looks like something you absolutely could achieve with 3D tools. Apple's clearly making a statement about valuing human artistry, process, and tactile detail, especially as AI tools flood the market. So was this beautiful craftsmanship or just artisanal overkill? Let us know in the comments. My good friend Eran Stern just dropped a tutorial that honestly made me feel dumb for not knowing this sooner. Turns out fonts have secret alternate letters and symbols called glyphs hidden inside of them. Like you can swap out a boring H for a fancy decorative version that makes your typography look way more intentional. Here's the catch. You can't access them in After Effects. You have to go into Illustrator or Photoshop, find the glyphs panel, swap in your fancy letters, and then copy it over to After Effects where it'll maintain those characters. It's one of those things that once you know about, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. Eran goes through the whole workflow, grabbing fonts from Adobe that have good glyphs, swapping them out, then bringing them into After Effects. He even throws in some AI animation using Adobe's tools and creates this cloudy text effect that looks pretty slick. Speaking of Eran, his new course, After Effects Insider, just launched at School of Motion. Over 12 hours of intermediate and advanced training, teaching you how to work as efficiently as possible in After Effects. If this glyph trick is news to you, trust me, Eran's got plenty more deep cut knowledge where that came from. So check it out. You can get the link for the tutorial and the course in the description. Now for some School of Motion news. Mark your calendar because on Friday, November 28th, we're having a Black Friday sale where you can get 25% off an annual subscription to our All Access program where you get every course we make for one low price. And during the sale, the price will be even lower. If you've been waiting to jump into All Access, this is the perfect time. You can learn more at schoolofmotion.com/Black Friday. And for existing All Access members, we're having our monthly live portfolio review this Thursday, November 20th. Register in the community and come hang out in the side chat. And if you're not an All Access member, do some pre-sale window shopping on our site. We're the world's only all-access learning platform where you get unlimited critique from professional artists. With over 2,500 active students just this year, our teaching assistants have critiqued over 12,000 projects. Check out schoolofmotion.com for all the details. And coming in December, a new course, UX Animation Essentials, taught by a senior motion designer at Google. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and learn how to operate on the cutting edge of motion design, watch out for this one. Finally, we're still accepting submissions for our 2025 holiday card. The deadline is December 3rd at 5 p.m. Eastern, which is not that far away, but all you really need is 3 seconds of animation, just 72 frames. So why not jump in? Check out the full details at the link in the description. Unreal Engine 5.7 just dropped, and there's some solid upgrades for motion designers and animators. The headline feature is Nanite Foliage, which finally lets you render dense vegetation in real time without tanking your frame rate. If you've ever tried to fill a scene with trees and grass, you know that this has been a nightmare, but Nanite is handling it now. Substrate Materials hits production-ready status, giving you physically accurate material blending that actually works. Megalights graduated from experimental to beta 2, so you can use way more dynamic lights with realistic shadows without killing performance. That's huge for cinematic lighting setups. For character animation, the IK retargeter got upgrades for better foot-to-ground contact and spatial awareness to prevent self-collisions when retargeting. The skeletal editor now lets you seamlessly switch between placing bones, painting weights, and sculpting blend shapes with instant updates, which speeds up rigging workflows considerably. They also added a procedural vegetation editor for creating plant meshes directly in Unreal, one-way physics collisions for better ragdoll effects, and improvements to composure for virtual production work. Plus, there's an in-editor AI assistant that can answer questions and generate code. I'm really curious to see if the AI will get it right or hallucinate code like so many other large language models. Are you excited for Unreal Engine 5.7? Let us know in the comments. For years, Trapcode Particular has reigned supreme as the go-to particle system for Adobe After Effects. It's got a huge library of presets, a dedicated visual UI, and powerful physics, but it's only included in the complete Red Giant Suite or Maxon 1. Stardust, its more modern rival, while delivering advanced features like volumetric effects, takes a more daunting node-based approach that has kept many from using it. But now, from our friends at AE Scripts and AE Plugins, there's a new player in town called, I want to say, Furry Cake?
Today we're going to learn how to make furry cake.
Oh, I love me some furry cake. Yum!
Great. The first ingredient we'll need is someone who actually knows how to bake a cake, because I sure
Oh
don't.
no!
Furikake, which in Japanese means to sprinkle on top, is a lightweight and high-performance particle generation plugin for After Effects designed for doing simple sprite-based effects simply. It's built to leverage modern multi-core CPUs and supports multi-frame rendering, depth of field, and 32-bit color, and it includes some standout features like secondary emitters, normal maps for advanced lighting effects, and double-sided textures, which are really useful for creating animations of things like playing cards, something that has always been hard to do in sprite-based particle systems. So what do you think? Are you ready to adopt a new particle system? Let us know in the comments. Okay, time to feature some great work. First up, 3D artist Eslam Mohammed dropped a new reel showcasing his 8-month journey exploring lighting, materials, and simulations, bringing together Cinema 4D, Octane Engine, Blender, and Houdini. It's a beautiful piece of work that shows what you can do when you commit to learning something new. Next, Lucas Piazzini, a junior generalist at Industrial Light and Magic, you know, those old hacks, shared his submission for Clinton Jones's Rampage Rally Challenge based on Alita Battle Angel. And not only is it a beautiful display of pure talent meeting execution, Lucas also released a detailed 22-page breakdown of his process for creating it, full of video and imagery. Also, Japanese motion designer Yuji Ishikawa dropped a reel based on his first year working with Rive. It's packed with fun, interactive animations that show what the tools can do in the hands of an experienced animator. I think we'll be seeing many more Rive reels in the coming year. Now, this last one is not exactly motion design in the modern sense, but it's a pretty cool throwback to its earliest days. Paper craft artist Shinra Shinge created a practical joysticks and sliders rig for the real world. This animated Shiba Inu is a fun reminder that so much of what we do digitally can be inspired by the real world. Reeper is a free Cinema 4D plugin that's been around for a while, but I just discovered it and it's surprisingly useful. It generates ropes along a spline with different braid patterns and styles, which sounds kind of niche until you actually need to make a rope and realize how freaking tedious it is to do manually. The workflow is dead simple. Draw a spline, apply the Reaper generator, and boom, instant rope. You can adjust the number of strands, the coil tightness, radius, and pick from different braid patterns. It even works with text splines so you can create rope lettering. I tested it out and made some cool stuff, rope text that renders beautifully, and even this holiday-themed project with a glass star ornament and lighting strings running through it, both using Reaper. The plugin handles all the geometry for you, so you just focus on the creative stuff. It's completely free for commercial and non-commercial use, and it's available for different Cinema 4D releases going back to version R21. If you've ever needed cables, ropes, strings of lights, or any kind of twisted or braided geometry, this plugin will save you hours of modeling time. Definitely worth having in your toolkit. Do you have any other free Cinema 4D tools that you love? Let us know in the comments. Overlord just added Photoshop support in version 2.6, and this is actually a bigger deal than it sounds. For years, After Effects has imported PSDs, but once they're in there, you're stuck with whatever structure you imported. If your design changes, you're basically starting over. Now, Overlord builds actual After Effects layers from Photoshop layers. Masks, adjustment layers, text, gradients, layer styles, the whole deal. Vector fill layers become shape layers. Groups with clipping masks translate to track mats. And text comes through live and editable with multiple fonts and sizes intact. One cool feature is the smart rasterization option. If you have elements that won't be animated, like a texture or a background, you can rasterize them on transfer to keep your comps cleaner. There's also an image scale selector, so you're not stuck with whatever export size Photoshop decides to use. The big win here is fixing Photoshop's artboard chaos. Instead of After Effects importing every artboard into one giant comp, Overlord pulls from the active artboard only. They also rewrote the internal messaging system, raising the data cap from 16 megabytes to 256 megabytes so that you can transfer way heavier, more complex files without hitting limits. If you work between Photoshop and After Effects regularly, this update makes that workflow way less painful. Are you using Overlord? If not, is this the update that finally makes you jump in? Let us know down below. Time for School of Motion Student of the Week, Ingrid Jimenez, an experienced 2D motion designer from Mexico City who's diving into 3D. Ingrid told us that she's been wanting to take our courses for years, and she finally took the plunge with Cinema 4D Basecamp and our Rive courses. I love that she's pushing herself to grow and learn new things, something we should all be doing. Looking over Ingrid's awesome demo reel, which is packed with personality, you can see that she's got mad animation skills, and it's obvious that those skills are helping her a ton in moving into this new 3D framework. It's a great reminder that our knowledge and experience are transferable, and that once you get started, no matter what you do next, you're never starting from nothing. Congratulations, Ingrid. Please keep us posted on your work. The folks at ZBrush just had their 25th anniversary summit, and while they spent most of it covering the April release, they've been teasing some serious updates across social media. The big ones are a dedicated UV editor for desktop and new manual retopology tools, both things that ZBrush users have been asking about forever. The UV editor looks clean and purpose-built, giving you proper UV unwrapping tools without jumping into another application. The retopology workflow preview shows tools for building clean topology over high-poly sculpts, which is huge if you're preparing models for games or real-time rendering. Maybe the most interesting tease is a desktop UI overhaul coming next year. They're working towards unifying the interface with the iPad version, which honestly makes sense. The iPad app has a way more modern and intuitive layout. They did mention that at least for now, you'd be able to choose between the current and the new UI. They also showed off one-click transfer from ZBrush to Substance Painter, which is exactly the kind of pipeline integration people have been wanting. Release dates are a little vague, but it's good to see ZBrush continuing to evolve instead of resting on being an industry standard. Do you have another 3D modeling tool you can't live without? Let us know. And that's it for this episode of Motion Mondays. Don't forget, our Black Friday sale starts November 28th. It's a great opportunity to grow your skills and career while also paying less. All Access members, join us this Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern for our November portfolio review. Also, don't forget to check out our new After Effects Insider course if you haven't already. It's part of All Access and packed with nearly 13 hours of deep cut workflows and tricks. And be on the lookout for our UX Animation Essentials course dropping this December. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our weekly news updates, podcasts, tutorials, and general shenanigans. All the links for the stories we covered are in the description below, so geek out to your heart's content. And remember, it's not the length of the week, it's the motion of the Mondays. See you soon.